Welcome back to our Cryengine tutorial video set. In this video, John's going to talk a little bit about how the file structures work and how different files relate to each other to make it easier to tie sequence files to different characters and be able to find them and whatnot. So I'll let John take the mic on this one.
All right, so when you make a sequence file, it creates an XML file that has a WAV file and all the phoneme mappings in it. And for other characters in Crysis 2 to be able to see that, they have to have some sort of mapping or relation to that FSQ file. A quick example that we'll go over in this video is the civilians. The civilians have a .chrprms file. I'm just going to call them character parameters. And inside of those, it has all of the joint mappings, and at the very bottom, there's an animation list. And there's a few various different locations, and the one we're interested in is the civilians.character parameters. And when you go to that, you'll notice, you can open it up. You know, I have it in Notepad++ here. And you'll notice that up at the top here, it'll say animation name include. So it's including a directory or another file of sort. And then it says to the path animations/human/facial adds seq.characterparams. And that add sequence is where we, for the segment video, put all of the sequence files. So every character, we could just point it to that one character parameters file and then have all the sequences that we created. So if we open up the add sequence file, it's structured sort of the same. It's under the same folder right above civilians. And it has a whole bunch of listings in there. We named them scene number dash line number. But it's the tag animation name, then the name of the file, and then path equals the actual path name of that file relative to where it is. And in this case, we did an include up at the top, file path animation/human. So it'll look in that directory for any sequence. So all of those numbered sequences down below are in that directory down there. And because this is such a headache and there's a lot to remember, we actually wrote a tool that maps all of these associations for you. So you can create a new sequence and then use this tool to add it to either the additional sequences file, or you can map it to an individual character. But for all intents and purposes, it's always easier just to have it mapped to that additional sequences and then point a character to that.
So all of this becomes really important when you have a character added to your track view, and when you go to add a facial sequence to that character, it'll open up a little drop-down list. And if you want your facial sequence to be in that list, all of these directories and all of this has to be correct. So it's something you want to make sure you get down, and hopefully our tool will help you out with that a little bit. John has spent a lot of hours writing this, so hopefully it's useful.
One more thing to add, it's everything's relative to the game Crysis 2 root directory. So when you're doing your file pathing, make sure that everything is inside the root directory.
All right, I think that's all we wanted to cover here. It's a little hairy, so you might have to listen to it a couple times. But with that, we'll close.